This is Torbay. Where we are, we're actually sitting on the one of the two wings of the bay. Over in the distance we have Bury Head, and on top of that is a Napoleonic hill fort, a Napoleonic fort, which is actually superimposed on an old Iron Age fort, so you know, a very sort of ancient place. This is the other wing of the bay, which is Hope's Nose. In between you have the three towns, and Torbay is a very artificial construct that only came about in the 1970s really. So over there we have Brixham at the south end of the bay, very much of a fishing town, very different from the other two towns. In the centre we have Paynton, and at the northern end of the bay, where just around the corner where we are now, we have Torquay, which is the largest of the three towns, but the most modern of the three towns. Back in the year 1800, there were only around 800 people that lived in Torquay itself. Before we sort of carry on with a little bit of the history of the bay and of Torquay, just wanted to point out the island down there, which is Thatcher Rock, well known for sort of as a sort of marine conservation area. And what we do have there, it's called Thatcher Rock because it's supposed to look like the roof of a thatched Devonshire cottage, but it's called Thatcher because at a certain angle you can actually see a rock outcropping that does resemble somebody working on the roof of that cottage. So there's the Thatcher idea. The genesis of Torquay, as I said, that Torquay in 1800 only had about 800 people. Several things actually changed that. First of all, the British fleet used to anchor in Torbay. So we had quite a number of sort of naval personnel that actually came ashore and visited Tor Abbey. That was one reason. So people are very familiar with this space. The other main reason was that the English aristocracy used to have their grand tour, where the sons and sometimes the daughters of the aristocracy used to sort of roam around Europe for months and sometimes years at a time before they returned home. And because they had a classical education, they would visit Rome and Paris. And then with the French Revolution and with the sort of rise of Napoleon, between the sort of late 18th century and 1815, when Napoleon was finally beaten, the English couldn't leave Britain. So they actively went and they found somewhere that they thought resembled the places that they liked to visit. So this area was colonised, and it looks a little bit like the south of France or the Italian Riviera because it's meant to be. So the English aristocracy moved in the early years of the 19th century, and if you look around, you can still see unusual plant life. It actually resembles that, and it's supposed to resemble that. And you know, you can look at the architecture of Torquay and see Italianate villas. You can see different types of trees, and we've got the archetypal and ubiquitous Torquay palm. So we're trying to look like somewhere else. And the third reason why Torquay was so popular was as a health resort. And very large numbers of people came here to try and recover from various illnesses, mostly consumption, which was TB. So if you look at some of our cemeteries now, they're filled with people that don't actually come from Torquay. And that was really the genesis of Torquay as the English Riviera.